had any of that interaction. A year later, mom is walking him down the road. He sees a kid play with a soccer ball and just completely loses it. Entire behavior around the dog. Like, a lot of what was happening is that she, after being dragged and losing control of him, and that was extremely nervous walking him. He was feeding off that energy. So she was going out nervous. As soon as she got out, opened the door, yanked the leash. Like, come here, don't run away from me, right? And that puts him on edge as soon as you step outside. I mean, they already kind of knew his cues, but they were scared of them, right?
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
if the ears went up, she would just be like, oh, what do I do?
What's going on? Right.
Exactly. So instead of getting scared or worried about it, they knew what to do when they saw those signs, and they very quickly learned how to prevent the behaviors from occurring. And next thing you know, everybody's just blissful, you know?
Yes, exactly.
And I think the big changing of the entire environment, the entire lifestyle, and a lot of times people have a hard time keeping the data or understanding why it's so important. But I think that was one of the best things it was just, it was so joyful. Like you would sit down after a couple of weeks of the program and you look at the data and you can see sleep going up, you see self-soothing and self-play and all this stuff going way up, and all the behaviors, that the problem behaviors, just decreasing. And yeah, and you could graph it. It's amazing. And when you graph it, you can show them what they've done. Like, you can visualize. The data is just so useful. I wish people would just keep better data, honestly, on their dogs, especially if you're medicating and going into a vet that's supposed to give your dog medication. It has no data to work off of. You would never do that with a person.
No, never. Yeah. So Jonah, now, if someone's listening and their dog behavior feels stuck, what would you want them to know?
Well, two things. One, there's a function to the behavior, and we will find it and change it. But the overall is very important too. Yeah. Sometimes the dog will have a behavior like going after soccer balls or whatever, barking at other dogs. Mm-hmm. Maybe the dog is not getting enough exercise, not getting enough play, not getting enough, depending on what the behavior is, of course. But there's just, when you change the overall and you change the amount of sleep that they're getting and the amount of meals that they're getting in a day, you break it up to more meals, watch the blood sugar levels, like, just pay attention to the overall of the dog and the entire system that the dog is living in. Sometimes you get behavior changes, you don't even know why it happened exactly, but it's the overall change that just shifts just the entire relationship and the entire way that the dog behaves in the world. And by the end of the program, it's almost like a different dog.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And different people. That's what I find is like the family unites, in a way that they didn't even know was possible.
Definitely around the dog. Definitely, like, they behave completely different around the dog, which makes the biggest difference.
And how many times have we heard that, right? Where they said the way that you shifted our views on the dog and how we approach the dog and what we think about the dog has, and the deepened understanding of their emotional way of seeing the world. We heard that so often, didn't we? Yeah. Yeah.
I think one of the most common things is that very often people were just really set on, I need to walk the dog a certain amount of times. I need to get him out. Needs a certain amount of exercise, which is, I know that was a big thing. Dogs were probably under-exercised in the past, but not all dogs need, it's very individual. And sometimes the dog doesn't need that walk or doesn't want it. And it's very hard for people to compute that and just kind of scale it back and start fresh and see what the dog is actually wanting to do, and not have your own preset idea of, oh, I have to go to work and I got 15 minutes to walk the dog right now. I need him to poo, so you need to get 1 kilometer that way, 1 kilometer that way, get back. We got 10 minutes to do it. And maybe the dog's just not into that right now.
It was, as you said that, as I was reflecting, I thought about how many cases we had where we disengaged the whole walking concept. Dogs walking. No,
very common.
They don't need to be walked. They need to be exercised and stimulated, yes. And how it really is a classic lesson in the very basics of systems thinking, is that it's called equifinality. A big $10 word for saying there's multiple ways to achieve the same outcome. And so when we stop and think that exercise and stimulation must be walking and maybe sniffing, or walking and giving them a puzzle, it's like, well, no, it can be anything that resonates with your dog and that lands with the correct amount of exercise for your dog and the correct amount of stimulation for your dog, right?
Yeah,
You brought that
absolutely.
to my mind. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that the pre-work morning walk could be very, very stressful on the dog sometimes. It's like you're in a rush. Everybody's walking their dogs at the same time. There's a lot of dogs out. There's a lot of barking. There's a lot of you have anxiety from the moment you get out the door. People are always in a rush. You forget to take the treats. It's just sometimes maybe it's better not to and do
yeah.
something else for those 15 minutes.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Maybe play in the backyard.
And one of the things that we did for people is we made sure they had a very clear schedule. It was adaptive, like they could make it whatever they wanted, but we showed them a sample of what that schedule would look like as they were embedding the program into their lives.
I think the routines are so important for dogs. They build so much of their understanding of what's happening in the world around the routine and knowing that we go for a walk around this time, we come home, then we have our whatever ritual, and they build, and then I have my meal, and I go to take a nap. If their day is regimented like that, they're just really happy. They're not, they don't look for spontaneity, they're very happy just kind of
Yeah.
mapping out their day and knowing how to go about it.
Yeah.
Of course, they're always happy if you can surprise them with a nice walk or a good treat, but just knowing what's coming up and having that idea of like how the day progresses is huge. It's huge for dogs.
I want to thank Jonah so much for coming onto the show today. And don't worry, I did ask him if he could leave us some information on how to get in touch with him. Let's just show you that real quick.
Want some advice? Please feel free to reach out to me. My email is pivotalchangetoronto, all one word, pivotalchangetoronto@gmail.com. Please reach out. I'm always here. Thank you.
Hey, everybody, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Please remember to subscribe, hit that like button if you like this content, and we will be back with more great episodes coming up very soon. Thanks again to my guest, Jonah, and I hope you guys have a great day. Don't forget, be kind to your dog.